Back here on Spotlight, we are giving out grades for the NFC East. And the Cowboys are not the favorites to win the division, but they surely are the most talked about in the division year after year. And there was a lot of hype, a lot of anticipation around Micah Parsons' return to Jerry World. Yet another OT game for the Dallas Cowboys, and it ended in a tie. The first tie in the NFL since 2022. I know, 40-40. It was like, that's it? What the heck's going on? Where were the defenses on either side of the ball, really? Micah Parsons said he was not happy with the tie, and I'm paraphrasing that because I don't know if I can use his actual words on television. Here are the standings. The Eagles 4-0, despite what the stat sheets say, despite whatever you want to say about the Eagles, are still finding ways to win. The Commanders sitting at 500 with Marcus Mariota starting the last two games. The Cowboys 1-2-1, and the Giants 1-3, bottom of the division, picking up their first win of the season with Jackson Dart as the starting quarterback there. We're back here with the fellas. We're going to do grades for the NFC East, starting with the Cowboys, because a lot of folks thought this was going to be a blowout. Like, Micah Parsons is going to go off. He's going to get like 5 sacks here. Dallas really hung around. They looked pretty good on offense. George Pickens was able to step up with CeeDee Lamb not being there. Logan, give us your grade for the Cowboys here through the first 4 weeks of the season, of course, with the last performance in high consideration.
Yeah, there was so much to consider with the Cowboys. Obviously, the blockbuster trade of Micah Parsons right before the season. What are they going to be? And I'm giving them a C. They're right in the middle of what we thought they're going to be. The offense is an A. The defense is an F. Make that a C. I mean, they're not. It's bombs away over there on that defense right now. They really need to figure out what they want to do. I don't know if they have the pass rush to get enough stops. They don't have the coverage, clearly. They're banged up there. And, you know, they had a decent little schedule in the beginning of it, but they're giving up too many points. And it's wasting Dak Prescott's beautiful play. He's playing really good football. And they're 1-2-1 with that. I don't know how much of this football you're going to get from Dak Prescott. If he would, it's an MVP caliber season. And to only have one win out of that, I think you're wasting a lot of what Dak Prescott's putting out there.
Yeah, and I'm going to follow up with a C as well, and a lot of the same reasons. I love where Dak is, and I've been saying this, asking this question all day. Can you remind me why we hate Dak so much and why there's such hate for him in his play? Because when he's healthy and he's out there on the field, he's going to have you as a 10-plus win team, and I think they have the makings of that. But if you look at their defense, on the other hand, Week 2, you give up 37 points. Week 3, you give up 31 points. Yesterday, you give up 40 points. Like that, those are tough numbers for you're asking an offense to at least score 38, at least score 32, and at least score 41. Like, you're asking so much of your offense because your defense can't hold up its end of the deal.
Yeah, to your point, I will not tolerate any Dak hate. I can't stand it. Like, enough is enough. To your point, it's not fair.
Yeah, he's earning all the extra credit for this team, but the defense just keeps flunking every single test.
He's doing a group project, right?
I was going to say it's the group project. He's doing his job.
He's the one that's in charge of the scheduling, making sure that everything gets done, and the defense is showing up on test day and winging it. How about the Eagles? They're one of 2 teams in the NFL currently undefeated, so that's good. But, man, they have needed some special teams magic to win lately. So, Logan, where do you put the grade for the Eagles?
Well, look, they're going to get the first one. They're going to get my first A.
It's
an A-minus, though.
Okay, not perfect.
It's a petty A. It's a petty A. And I got to give them an A because they're 4-0. Look, there's a thing in the NFL we talk about the first 4 weeks of the season. And I think Rand can attest. You really don't know the team you have. You're not really tackling it in preseason. You guys aren't playing both sides of the ball that much. You really don't know what you have. The first 4 weeks are pretty much preseason nowadays. You got to leave it with some wins. And the Eagles are finding that way to win regardless. Now, the issues. A.J. Brown, don't know how happy he is at the moment. He's not involved enough. Saquon Barkley is not producing at the clip that he was. They're not rushing well enough as an offense with that offensive line that they have. So they have a lot of weapons, but the weapons have not been producing. Are they winning games? They are. They're 4-0. That's why you get an A. But it's an A-minus to me because they're going to need A.J. Brown. They're going to need some Saquon Barkley to take the next step in this offense, similar to last year, in these key games down the stretch. But I know being a team, if you can start the first quarter of the season 4-0, you're not too mad about that.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to be the hard grader here and give them a B. I'm going to bring it down a little bit because I still believe that this Philadelphia Eagles is the best team in the NFL right now. I truly do believe that. I'm giving them a B because they've found ugly ways to win games. And the great teams and a mark of a great team is just getting the W, no matter how it looks. But they've had several games where, like yesterday, they had 200 yards of total offense. I think there was another week where they had below 200 yards of offense. And we see here on the graphic, we've had to rely on block field goals, block field goal returns for touchdown.
It's been fun.
Sidney Brown with the block. So shout out to special teams coordinator Michael Clay and the job he's done getting this unit ready and getting this unit in position to help them win football games. But at some point, because they have so much talent on this team, we're going to see an offensive explosion. Right, we're going to see Saquon Barkley get going. And I, for one, being a former running back, I am here for them finding ways to win without Saquon right now, right? Because coming off of the year he had last year, the great season he had, the postseason run, a shortened offseason, and then now it's right back into the season. So I'm here for them not having to rely on him at this point, because come November, December, January, as Logan could attest to, you need to be able to run the ball when that weather changes and things get gritty. Yep. And I think this team will be able to.
You got to give Saquon a little bit of rest, if you will, to kind of ramp up to that, right? Yeah. Let's go to the Commanders, because I don't know, maybe pleasantly surprised with Marcus Mariota and being able to kind of keep this offense afloat here. The defense, though, in this last game, giving up 30-plus points to a Atlanta Falcons team that was shut out by the Carolina Panthers. So where are you at, Rand, on the Commanders? What is the grade for Washington?
I'm giving Washington a C, and a lot of it is because we haven't seen that same Commanders magic that we saw last year, right? Even when Jaden Daniels was in the lineup and he was able to play, things just felt a little off. They've made acquisitions in the offseason to go get more weapons. You get Terry McLaurin's deal done. You bring over a Deebo Samuel. You're bringing all these pieces in to help take this offense to a next level, and they just hadn't been able to. And we can call a spade because you mentioned about the defense and how the defense has played. This defense hadn't been the identity of this football team, right? And especially considering Dan Quinn is a defensive-minded head coach. They make plays when they need to, and they have a nice scheme that allow the guys to kind of go out and play their game and be athletes. And Logan's played in this defense before, and he knows how player-friendly it is and what it allows you to do. But you mentioned Marcus Mariota. Not saying that Marcus Mariota is Jaden Daniels, but you talk about going from a QB1 to a QB2 and having a similar skill set, which makes it easier for offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury to kind of stay with the same game plan as potentially if you look at now what Todd Monken may have to do if Lamar Jackson is out, having to go from Lamar to Cooper Rush. It's a different dynamic. And so I think that's what allowed this offense to kind of stay afloat, because they can still run the similar things.
Yeah, I'm going to give them a tick higher, and that's a B-. And you got to understand, the Commanders shocked the world last year. Yeah. Really, with Jaden Daniels and his success, they were the second-best team in the NFC. You know, they dismantled Detroit in the playoffs last year, and Detroit's a good team. You know, they can play ball, and then they lose their franchise quarterback to an injury. So they're very lucky they're not 1-3 right now, but Marcus Mariota steps in, a backup quarterback like we talked about, and to maintain this 2-2 second in division, you got to be happy about that while you're steadying the ship for Jaden Daniels' return. You know, Emily, I played with Marcus Mariota in Tennessee. Why not put a great spread quarterback in the spread? It makes sense to me. Why draft him and put him under center, right, to turn his back to the defense? That made no sense to me. I digress on that situation. So I'm happy. Yeah, right, hold on, Ryan. Let me cool off. But I'm happy that he is able to come in, play well enough, right, to steady the ship. I think it's a sign of a good team, but the Commanders have a target on their back this season. They're not surprising anybody. You got to get ready when the Commanders come to town, and I think they've been handling it just fine.
Yeah, and the good news is, too, Jaden Daniels is expected to return Week 5 against the Chargers. One more team in this division. How about the Giants at 1-3? And I'm curious about your rankings and how much you factor in the offense under Russell Wilson versus now the Jackson Dart era officially begins. So, Rand, what's the grade?
So I went C-, right? And the Giants should have won that Cowboys game, right? Like, let's just call a spade. Like, Russ threw for 450. Yeah. And it was a great performance. But now you insert the young fella, you insert Jackson Dart, and he's brought an energy and a life to this offense and to this team. However, the injury to Malik Neighbors is going to be detrimental for this team, because you are already struggling being able to throw the ball downfield with Malik Neighbors. and now you take him out of the lineup, and so it's going to put even more pressure on Jackson Dart moving forward. And I just don't think they have enough around him at this point to be able to take the next step. And then you look at this schedule. The Saints defense played pretty well yesterday versus Josh Allen, but then you got that gauntlet week 6 through week 9, and so we'll really get to see where Jackson Dart is at that point.
Yeah, I'm right with Rand on this. I'm going C-. The Giants found their future, right? It's a new chapter. Scadaboo brought a lot of energy as well. The way he plays, you called him Mr. Headache earlier. That was pretty funny. The way he plays, gets the crowd into it. And Jackson Dart, same thing. The Malik Neighbors takes a lot of win out the sails. But Rand, my question is, if you're going to start Jackson Dart week 4 in the NFL this season, why not start him in the beginning of the year? Right? Russ was leading the league in passing for 2 weeks, has a bad game, and now we insert the rookie. I think they should have started him from the beginning of the year. Maybe the record would be a little bit different. Clearly they're going with Jackson Dart now. He's got to stay healthy. I think the Giants turned the page, but with the tough schedule they have this year and the loss of Malik Neighbors, it's really going to be hard to improve this record.
Yeah, it's the age-old question, right? When you draft a young quarterback, do you let him sit and learn, or do you throw him out there and see what you got?
Now he has to go out there without his lead wide receiver, too.
Yes, so the challenges are ahead with that brutal strength of schedule. Rand, Logan, we certainly appreciate it. Giving out grades, playing teacher, if you will, for the NFC North and the NFC East. Getting a look at the NFC East games on deck. We have the Eagles and the Broncos Sunday on CBS. By the way, the Eagles, the only team to get an A, but it was an A-, so it was a petty A. With the Jets and the Cowboys, the Saints and the Giants also on CBS, and then the Chargers and the Commanders Sunday at 4:25 Eastern.